The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to this morning's role play session with your host, James McDonald.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea, and I'd like to start, as I always do, by welcoming our participants to our favorite time of the week where we get to do role play together. So I hope all of you are as eager and excited as I am to do some role playing. Craig will be joining us here in just a moment. Also, we can discuss any of your follow-up related questions as well. So in addition to doing role playing, you have some questions. Maybe you're getting some common objections that you want to talk about. Whatever it is, if it relates to lead follow-up, if it relates to the universal callback script, in addition to role-playing, that's what we're here to discuss. So we'll use all the time we have to do exactly that. You know that in addition to role-playing, you can type any questions or any thoughts you have into the chat, as I know many of you have done. Last week, the week before that, we had a recorded example that we played from Sandy, and it was really good. And I know that that you guys remember that, and I really want to encourage others to do that now. So we listened to Sandy's call where she converted the prospect who was quite reluctant to an appointment. And it was really good to be able to hear that, and I encouraged everybody else, man, you should do that. Like, look how instructional that is to be able to listen to an actual call and be able to dissect it. And you guys agreed, yeah, that was really, really good. So that was 2 weeks ago today, and it was so good that a grand total of 0 of you have sent me a call. So, hey, I'd love it if you do that. And I know that maybe here are the steps that you're taking before you consider this is record a couple of your follow-up calls just for you. Don't send them to anyone, just for you. And what you'll notice, just simply yourself, listening from a third-party perspective, is you'll hear little things that maybe you aren't doing the way you thought you were, or things that you're missing. And then you can tighten that up. And so you're using the recording for your own personal instruction. And then when you record your next set of calls, maybe you can take the best example and you can send that one in. But so I would just want to say, as a bare minimum, record your calls, or some of your calls, not all of them, but some of them. Forget about sending them in with or recording them with the idea, I'm going to send them in so that everyone can listen. Just let's scrap that for a second. Why don't you record them with the idea that the reason you're doing it is because you yourself are going to listen, and it's going to be very, very instructional for you to do that. And I believe that you will absolutely find that just by you listening, you're going to be blown away by what you're missing that the prospect is saying, and you're going to be blown away by what you thought you were saying and how it's actually being received, how you're actually delivering the words that you're speaking. It's nothing better. Okay, having said that, Andrea, we are going to do some role playing. We're going to take any questions. As I said, Craig is going to join us momentarily here. But why don't we get started and see who we've got in the queue and what kind of chat questions we've got, and let you monitor that, Andrea. And we'll just take as many as time permits.
Will do. And James, let me know if I'm having any audio issues. I'm hearing you in and out, but I don't know if it's my internet or possibly yours. So just let me know if anytime you can't hear me properly. If you would like to... Awesome. If you would like to role play, go ahead and click the hand icon now. You must have a mic or be on the telephone to role play with us. You can also type I would like to role play in the chat box along with any questions or comments you have. Our first guest is Mario Scanza. Please go ahead.
Good morning.
Hey, Mario, how are you?
Very well. How are you all today?
Excellent, excellent. What are we going to do today?
You tell me. What would you like me to do?
Well, Mario, I hate to tell you, but your audio is quite bad. It sounds very bassy and tinny, and it's extremely difficult to hear you. So I fear that if we do a role play, it'll be very frustrating for all of the other listeners on. So I don't know, is there a way that you could hang up and call in from a landline instead? Because, yeah, it's just really, really hard to hear you.
It's really choppy?
I didn't even hear that. No idea what you just said.
No problem. I'll take a pass today. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Mario.
Okay, it sounds like Mario might have been on a wireless connection, and sometimes those will go in and out. We'll move on to Afshin Nuhi. Your line is now open. Go ahead, Afshin.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
Good, how are you today?
Excellent, excellent. What would you like to do here?
Well, I like to go through the buyer. Let's say you're a buyer 3 to 6 months, and I'm trying to get you to come to the office.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ring, ring. Hello.
Hello, is James there?
Yeah. Who's this?
My name is Afshin with Royal LePage. James, the reason I'm calling you because I received your request for list of fixer-upper homes, and we send it in the email to you. Is that okay?
Yeah. Thanks.
James, are you planning on making a move in next 3 to 6 months?
Probably not. We're just looking.
Oh, you're just looking. Do you currently rent or do you own your home?
Yeah, we're renting.
Oh, I see. And are you planning on staying in the area or moving out of the area?
No, we're staying in the area.
James, if you were to move, when do you think that might be?
We wouldn't be doing anything for at least 6 months.
At least 6 months, I see. And when the time comes, do you have a realtor to help you?
No. No, we're not. We're just looking around. We're just looking. No realtor, nothing like that.
I see. James, we sent you the list already with the list of fixer-upper homes. It should be in your email box. But would you like me to email you instant updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all real estate companies? You see, my list includes any bank foreclosures, any estate sales, any company-owned properties, or distress sale. It's free of service, and you're not obligated to buy a home with me. Would that interest you?
Yeah, let me take a look at what properties you've sent me here now, and if I want some more, I'll give you a call.
Okay. James, what happens, that's a one-time list. What I'm offering to you actually on an ongoing basis, instant updates of homes that come in the market that are similar to the list that I've sent you, that includes any vacant properties, estate homes, distress sales, any power of sales, and it's a free of service and you're not obligated to buy anything with me. Would you be interested in that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can go ahead and send me that.
Okay. You know, in order for me to get the all the criteria, we need to meet for about 20 minutes, so I can take down exactly what you're looking for.
We're not ready for that. We're not ready for that right now. Yeah, no, I was just poking around and I saw your ad. We're not ready for that. Maybe in a few months we will, but not right now.
Not right now. Then if it's in few months, would it be okay if I followed up with you at a later time?
Sure.
And when do you think would be a good time for me to call you back?
Maybe in like 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months. Do you have any more specific time, like
Nope.
April, May, or any time, or?
Yeah, sure. How about in May, early May?
Early May. Okay. And James, I will do that. I'm just wondering, would you like to receive a free monthly newsletter that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the real estate market, so when the time comes, you're ready?
Sure.
Okay, so it comes with a snail mail with a stamp. And what address can I send it to, James?
123 Maple Street.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, so here's what a couple of thoughts that come to mind that I need to be very clear with everybody. Okay, not just with Ashton. Number one, the purpose of your call is not to create motivation. You're not trying to make me motivated, right? Remember that. The purpose of the phone call is to discover the motivation of the prospect. What you're trying to do is you're trying to discover if I'm motivated or not. You're not trying to make me motivated. You're trying to discover if I am motivated. Does that make sense, first of all? So if I'm not really that motivated, if my timing is way off in the future, no words that you say are going to change that. I am as motivated as I am, and you are not going to change my motivation. You're not going to change my timing. Your job is to discover what my timing and my motivation is. All right, so bear that in mind. Now, sometimes, when the prospect acts like I did, which is one-word answers, they gave you very little to go on. When that happens, sometimes it's good for you to ask some additional questions. Okay, like, for example, here's a good question that you might want to ask. How have you been looking for your properties? You know, I noticed you responded to my ad on, you know, wherever it ran. I noticed that you responded to my ad in the classifieds. How are you looking for property? And maybe the prospect says this, oh, we're really not. You know, I happen to be looking in the newspaper and I saw your ad. Okay, so wait a minute. You've just determined that the prospect is not actively looking for real estate. Would that help you determine their timing and their motivation? Absolutely it would. It would tell me that this is obviously someone who's very early, if at all, in the process. And so sometimes it's okay to ask some additional questions like that. But the way that you handled it was actually pretty good, and here's why. When you make me the offer, and in making me the offer, you determine absolutely that I'm just not there yet. I'm not interested. I don't want what you're offering. I'm not motivated. My timing is way off. I don't want what you're offering. You know that you have a fallback position, and you can say, okay, would it be okay if I followed up with you by sending you my monthly newsletter? It's absolutely free. It'll keep you in touch with what's happening in the marketplace. Would you like to get that in the mail every month? Prospect says, yes, that's more like it. Sure, that would be helpful. Then it allows you to say, and would it be okay if I followed up with you when you're a little closer to making a move or considering it? Prospect says, yes. You say when? I say early May. You set a callback for, say, middle of April, just to be sure that you're early. But so, in other words, there is a process that you follow. What I was trying to demonstrate there is this. When the prospect is not motivated, your job is not try to make them motivated. What you're trying to do is ask questions to determine how good they are. And sometimes, not most of the time certainly, but sometimes it might require you asking an additional question or two to figure out what this prospect is all about. And I think that was a really good example of that. Now here's something else as well. Just simple wording, but don't say, you said this twice, it's absolutely free of service. No, it's not free of service. It's free of charge. It's actually rich with service. It's free of charge, though. Lots of service, no charge. The two of them are completely the opposite. It's free of charge, full of service. So don't say free of service. I know it's a little thing, maybe it's a habit of yours, but if you read the words on the page, it's free of charge. There is no charge to doing this whatsoever. It's a free service, and you're never obligated to buy a home. Anyway, I thought that was very good, and just a couple of things for you to work on there, but I appreciate you volunteering today. All right, who's next, Andrea?
Our next guest is Demindra. Your line is now open.
Hello, James. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. So, James, I would like you to basically on my advertisement on a newspaper regarding home valuation in Scarborough.
Okay.
But I have only received a partial link. I don't know the name, and then I've searched phone number through 411, and I'm calling on that number.
Okay. Do you know the name?
No, I don't know the name.
Okay. Why is there not a name associated with the number?
No, the number. Well, the number. I did search the number, and now I have that name, but I'm not 100% sure that that person gone online. Maybe somebody else in the family. So
I think you should throw caution to the wind, and in these instances, which aren't the majority, but in these instances, I think you might want to hedge and ask for the person whose name is attached. The worst thing that the person could say is, "No, I didn't request that."
Right. So when
it'd be no different than a wife asking for information and you're speaking to the husband. It's not the end of the world.
correct. So when I do that, when I find the last name, say for example Smith, then I can say, can I speak to Mr. or Mrs. Smith? So then that's how I would like to start, and that's how I would like to.
Well, because otherwise it's going to be impossible to differentiate from a telemarketer, because what you're doing is you're calling randomly, and if you say, well, let's just do the role play, okay? So, and let's hear how it goes. Ring, ring. Hello.
Hi. May I speak to Mr. or Mrs. Smith?
This is Mr. Smith.
Hello, Mr. Smith. This is Dharmendra calling from Remax, and the reason I'm calling is I have received a request regarding the home valuation, and I'm preparing that valuation for this address. Is that okay?
Yeah, that wasn't me. You said that I requested that information. When was that?
Well, I've got the address. This is 123 Main Street. Today, it's around today morning time. And that's why I'm calling back. I'm preparing that list to, evaluation to send you guys.
I see. It must have been my wife who did that. Okay, no problem.
Okay, possibly, yes.
Yes, thank you.
So, Mr. Smith, are you guys thinking or planning to make a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
We're thinking about it.
Thinking about that. And if you were to move, would you be staying in the same area, or you are planning to move in different area?
No, we would stay in Scarborough. We're looking around at different areas. We're considering it right now.
Oh, okay. And if you were to move, when do you think that might be?
Well, we would. It depends on what we can get for our property. We would definitely wait till the end of the school year. But yeah, we're just early.
So sometimes in the June when the school finishes. Are you thinking around that?
We certainly wouldn't move. We certainly wouldn't, be actually moving in the month of June. That's for sure. So.
Oh, okay.
But again, we're just looking. We haven't made a firm decision.
Okay. And do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right, when you are ready?
No one in particular.
No. Okay. So, Mr. Smith, would you prefer to buy before you sell or list your home, or you would like to first sell your home?
Well, we have to sell our home to know what we can afford. It depends on the equity in our home, so that's going to play a big role in it as well. Although we do have an idea of price, and we're looking around. We need something bigger for sure. So, yeah, that's what we'd have to do.
Right. I mean to say whether you want to list your house first, or you want to buy the new house first?
Well, we as I said, we couldn't buy without selling our home first. We'd have to sell our home first.
Okay. So would you like me to have a free market evaluation to determine what your home would sell for? And also I can give you, tips on what to do and what not to do to sell your home for the most amount of money. And we can also go over various closing costs that you will incur. That way you exactly know what is left in your pocket. And there is no obligation. It's absolutely free of charge. Does that sound helpful to you, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Is that what you're preparing now?
Well, when it's a good time to get together, is it days or evening good for you?
You can't just do it with the address. Like you need to.
When I do online, it only gives you a rough idea. But as you mentioned that you would like to know exactly how much funds we have, so that accordingly I can buy. So when I come to your house, look at your house, and I'll be able to give you very accurate valuation that gives you a fair idea of how much fund you have to make a decision about buying. So would that be daytime is better for you, or evenings?
Evenings are better.
Evening. How about tomorrow evening, Friday evening around 6 o'clock, or you would prefer the?
I'm not available Fridays.
Fridays. Would Saturday works for you, or?
Listen, just let me interrupt here for a second. Just follow the script. Don't tell me a time. Let me tell you. You don't ever have to tell me a time. All you have to say is this: what's better, days, evenings, weekends? And then just wait. Okay, so try that. Say it right now. Say it.
So, Mr. Smith, is the daytime is better for you, or evenings is better?
Or weekends. Why wouldn't you also offer me weekends? It's Thursday. The weekend is 2 days away, right?
Sure. So days is better, days or evenings, or weekend is better for you?
Weekends would probably be better.
Weekends are better. And is that morning works more better or afternoon?
Probably something in the morning.
Morning time. And what time is good for you this weekend?
Probably Saturday after 10 a.m.
After 10? Okay. So we can set up a time, say 10 o'clock Saturday, this coming Saturday?
Yep.
Okay. So, well, Mr. Smith, I will see you Saturday. And I believe, are you the only owner, or your spouse is also owner?
Yeah.
Together with you?
Yep.
So I believe she would be present at that time as well, so that if she has any questions, I'll be able to answer any of the questions she has as well.
That's right.
Okay. So, well, thanks for your time, Mr. Smith, and I will see you at 10 o'clock.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now, so a couple of things here. First of all, when the prospect says that they need to know how much home they can afford, and that depends on the sale of their home, it doesn't mean that they're not looking around at properties, all right? So that's kind of what we want to get to the bottom of. We want to say, hey, are you looking for your next property? Are you actively looking? Or are you not really looking until you sell your present home? Where are you at right now with that? See, because it's pretty reasonable that they say, well, we are looking around at properties, but obviously we would need to sell our home in order to buy. Okay, that's fine. Here's why that's important, is because what it allows you to do now is say this: well, look, if I can come and take a look at your property, it can be much, much more accurate in not only determining the value, but more importantly, determining what you can do inexpensively to make it worth more money. We can also go over a net sheet, but doing all of these things, you'll know what you'll have left in your pocket. Then you'll know when you go out and you're looking around at properties, you'll have a much better idea of what you can afford when you know what you're going to have left within your pocket. It's absolutely free. There's no obligation whatsoever, and I'm flexible. When would be a good time for me to come by and take a look at your property? Would you prefer days, evenings, or weekends?
Okay.
Okay, so that's how you want to position this. Is the reason that you want to make them this offer is because it's going to help them determine how much they'll have left in their pocket, so that they can more accurately go out and shop. Now, of course, what you can then do is at the appointment, you're not going to probably list their property, but what you are going to do is you're going to get them signed to a 6-month buyer broker agreement.
Right. Yes.
Okay, but I think you handled that well. And again, so see, if you don't know who the person is,
yes,
it would be a lot more. It would definitely be more awkward saying, "Hey, this is James calling with Craig Proctor's office, and somebody in your household requested an online home evaluation." It would certainly be better to ask for the person. The worst case scenario is they would say, "Well, that wasn't me."
So should I begin like that, or should I go ahead with and say I received a request?
You should ask for the person, because the person associated with the address would be the person who would be motivated to know the value of the home. So it kind of makes sense.
Oh, okay.
And if the worst case scenario is they say, "Oh, that wasn't me," well, okay, now you're no better off or worse off than you were before. So that's fine.
Okay, but
Great
doesn't
job.
that...
Thank you for... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So, don't you think that if I ask at the beginning, they can cut me off that, "Oh no, I have not received any, I have not asked for any valuation." That happened with me at couple times as well. So then I changed
Okay,
that
but
over.
if they didn't, but if they didn't, because again, you didn't get a name, you didn't get you only got an address, you didn't get
Yes.
any information. Well, then yes, that could be true. They didn't, and if they didn't, then they haven't indicated any kind of motivation. So we're not trying to take random human beings off the street and suggest that they're moving. The reason we're doing this is to speak to a prospect. And a prospect is someone who has demonstrated a motivation to buy or sell real estate. If this person did not ask for that information, you spending time with that person is a complete waste of time. So you'd rather find out about it right away. No big deal. And let me further this. I'm hoping that this is the exception, not the rule. In other words, the majority of the prospects that you follow up with, you do have a name for. You do know who you're asking for. What we're talking about right here is the exception to the rule, not the rule itself. All right? So bear that in mind as well. All right. Thank you so much. Let's keep on going here. And Mr. Craig Proctor has joined us, I see. Craig, how are you today?
Now, how do you know that?
I see your name on yes, I have technology here that shows me who is on the line and who's breathing heavy and all kinds of different things like that.
Well, I get so excited listening to your role plays.
Yes,
you can hardly blame me.
No,
all right. So let's see if we have any questions at this point. I think we might.
We do. Craig, would you like to address those, or do you want me to read them?
Well, John Lowe says, would this be a good time to mention the guaranteed sale program? So I came in a bit late, but do you know what John's referring to there, James?
Yeah, what John is referring to is on the actual role play. The question was, would you prefer to buy first or sell first? And the prospect is saying, well, you know what? It would absolutely depend on how much money we can get for our property before we would be able to purchase our next property. So we really have to sell our property before we can purchase. Now, you and I know that's called normal. What we're really asking, though, is this. Are you more motivated to look for a property right now, or are you more motivated to get a for sale sign in your yard? That's what we're asking. But the way we're phrasing the question is, would you prefer to buy first or list your home? Buy first or sell first? Look around first or sell your home? And what John is suggesting is that you say, well, you know, I have a guaranteed sale program whereby, you know, if your home isn't sold, then I'll step in and buy it. But remember, the motivation of the prospect is how much money can they get for their property. So you're really opening up a can of worms that is honestly unnecessary. What you're doing, regardless of what motivates the prospect, whether it's looking around, whether it's buying first or selling first, regardless of which one, you have an offer that is extremely compelling to book the appointment. So, and you can also combine the two offers. Remember, there's nothing saying that you can't make a 2-in-1 offer and book a seller appointment and then say this, by the way, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, when I come over and take a look at your property, one of the things we can also do is if I can take down exactly what you're looking for in your next property, I can set you up to receive every day all of the properties as they come on the market that match exactly what you and your family are looking for, especially the hard to find deals, distress sales, bank foreclosures, company-owned properties. It's absolutely free. There's no obligation for you to buy a property at all. And that way I can get you set up to receive those properties as they come on the market. When would be a good time for you? Days, evenings, weekends? Boom. We just booked a 2-in-1 appointment. So the first part of the appointment is the seller side. You're going to look at their property, give them an evaluation. Second part of the appointment, getting them signed to a buyer-broker agreement. And that's normal. You will do that a lot.
Okay. Rachel is asking, can we role play getting the listing at 6% commission? All right, let's see if Rachel has an active microphone here, and we'll have her come on and talk to us about exactly what she's looking for.
Rachel, your line is open. Say hello. Rachel?
All right, no Rachel.
No Rachel.
All right, we're going to open it up to some more role plays. Again, you have to have an active mic. You have to know how to use your computer and you have to have a microphone, you know, if you want to role play with us. Okay, Rachel says, sorry, I do not have a microphone. Okay. Rachel, I don't really understand exactly what you're asking. You want to do a role play on getting listings at 6% commission. So I can tell you the better your listing presentation is, the less objections you're going to get to your fee, because the fee only comes up in absence of value. You know, the better job you do of communicating great value, the more likely they're going to pay you what you're worth. The worse job you do of communicating value, the more likely the seller is going to see you as a commodity, like all the other realtors. And all things being equal, they're going to say, well, you sound like you're the same as everybody else, so how low will you go? Because then they're just shopping on price. All right, let's go back to our next volunteer for role play, Andrea.
Okay, we have one hand raised, so I don't see a lot of requests to role play, but we do have a lot of members on. So go ahead and click the hand icon or type in the chat box, I'd like to role play. Okay, here we go. We're getting some now. We have Eric Juanin. Your mic is now open.
Oh, hi.
Hi, good morning, Eric.
Good morning. Good morning. By the way, this is JM. I'm a virtual assistant of Eric.
Okay. So what type of prospect do you want me to be?
We can do buyer because that's mostly what I do.
Okay,
and,
so I'm a buyer. It really doesn't matter what I requested. That's why we call it a universal script. So ring, ring, and I say hello.
Is Mr. Proctor there?
Speaking.
Hi, this is JM with Banikad Realty. And the reason I'm calling is because I received your request for the information you wanted, and we are going to pop it in the mail to you. Is that okay?
Okay. Now, you want to be careful because sometimes you're going to be emailing the information, correct?
Yes.
So why not just say we sent the information, and that covers both options.
Okay.
That way you don't have to worry about whether it was emailed or mailed. Okay, so you sent the information. All right, thank you.
And are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Maybe.
Okay, and do you currently rent or do you own your own home?
I rent.
Okay, and are you planning on staying in the area or moving out of the area?
We're staying in the area.
All right. And if you were to move, when do you think that might be?
Probably do something in the spring.
Spring, all right. And do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
We know a couple realtors.
Okay, and are you 100% committed to any of those realtor? Or are you open to finding out the difference between what agents do for you and what they charge?
I don't know. I didn't think there was a difference.
Oh, there's a big difference as to what agents can do for you, sir. So,
Okay.
Would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all real estate companies? Our list includes any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, or other distressed sales. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that interest you?
Yeah, well, we go to Realtor.com and we look at all the houses there.
Oh, all right. Most online websites offer properties that have been available in the market for several days and sometimes even weeks. What I propose is to send you by email all the best properties as soon as they come on the market so you can beat out all the other buyers to the best new listings. Are you sure you want to reconsider?
I don't know. I mean, I get my information, I go online. That's where you get all the houses, right?
Yeah, yes, but Mr. Proctor, rather than email you hundreds of homes which may or may not match your criteria, or
well, we don't have to email them. I just go online and I look at the information. All the real estate agents have websites, so I get it there.
Yes, I understand. What I propose is, aside from sending it to you by email, because most online websites offer properties that have been available in the market for several days and sometimes even weeks. So, when can we get together for about 20 minutes so we can take down exactly what you're looking for? Just have a form we need to fill out so that we can take down exactly what you're looking for.
Why do we need to get together? Why can't I just tell you what I'm looking for?
Yes, I wanted to do a good job or a great job for you, Mr. Proctor.
Okay,
So,
well, couldn't you do a good job if I told you what I was looking for over the phone?
yes, it is very important that we do an accurate job of determining exactly what you're looking for. What we find is that by sitting down for 10 to 15 minutes, we can save you hours of time throughout the process. And remember, it's absolutely free and there's never an obligation to buy. We're flexible. What would be good for you? Days, evenings, weekends?
Well, I'm pretty busy at work. I work odd shifts. So why don't I do this? Why don't I just email you what I'm looking for?
All right. You can send me an email. We're very much flexible. We can check it out for you. But
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do that.
all right. And why don't we set up a tentative appointment so that if you have any questions, we might be able to. We will be able to.
Why don't I email you what I'm looking for, and we'll start with that, and then see how that works, and then if we need an appointment, we can do that later.
All right. So can do that. And would it be okay if I followed up with you?
Why are you agreeing with me?
Well, I can.
Is that what you want to happen?
No.
Okay. So you need to kind of fight me on this, because the way this phone call is going to end is I'm going to email you what I'm looking for, and you're going to start sending me information. And once you've proven to the prospect that you can send them information without them meeting with you, guess what's going to never happen? They're never going to meet with you.
Yes.
And then the person you're making phone calls for is never going to make a commission check from this, and that means you won't get paid either, right?
I understood.
Because they're going to buy a property, but they may not buy it from you.
All right.
Okay. So now understand what I'm doing here is not unique. This is what all the buyers want, right? All the buyers want the information from you without any commitment in the form of a meeting. They don't want to meet with us. So let's not be surprised when the buyer doesn't want to meet with us. Just know they don't. Okay, 100% of the buyers would prefer to do it the way I suggested. They don't want to meet with any real estate agent. They just want you to email them all the listings. And chances are they might have 3 or 4 other agents doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Plus they're looking online at Realtor.com and 18 different websites as well. So we know that that's what they want. So you've got to do a really, really good job of talking about what it is that you want without making it sound, that like this offer is all about what you want, right? So how can you communicate what it is that you want, but make it sound like a benefit to the buyer? What's the benefit to the buyer of meeting with you that they can't get anywhere else? It can't be about, well, I can send you houses too.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to stress things like, I really want to do a good job for you.
Okay.
Okay, which I think you said, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you want to make your list sound like it's kind of proprietary. You know what proprietary means, right? It's not information they can easily get anywhere else. Now, you kind of did that a bit with Realtor.com and some of these websites that I was visiting. You suggested, those properties, a lot of them have been on the market for a long time. You might even want to say, and some of the properties are already sold. You might even want to point out, Mr. Proctor, if you want to get a good deal, and I assume you do, in this market, you sort of have to be Johnny on the spot. You need to get priority access to hot new listings. So the offer that we're making has 2 major components. Okay, there's 2 things that you want to lean on heavily in your offer to differentiate what you're offering versus any other method that the buyer is using right now to obtain their information on homes. So your information's fast, right? You're going to get priority access to proprietary information. So we've got to make your list sound like something they just can't get online or from their friend that's in real estate. So let me hear you really describe this offer that you're making in such a unique way that any buyer that hears it would say, well, look, there's no downside to getting this information. It sounds like it's something I'm not getting anywhere else, and it's free of charge. If you make it sound that way, here's what the buyer thinks. Well, there's no downside. Right? I might as well get this. It's free. It's no obligation. It sounds like something I'm not getting. It's difficult to get anywhere else. You want to shake their confidence that you have something that they don't have, because a big fear that every buyer has is fear of loss. They're afraid that they might miss out on a property because they didn't know about it. We know that's true because that's why they're on 18 different websites. You know, that's why they're accepting information from 4 or 5 different realtors, because that's their big fear. So we want to play on that fear. You want to aggravate that. You want to say, like, you don't want to miss out on the perfect home. Like that would be the worst thing. So, you know, we don't want to waste your time looking through dozens and dozens of properties. We want to send you only the homes that perfectly match your criteria. But even worse, we don't want you to miss out on the perfect property. So when they say also, I can send you exactly what I'm looking for. Sometimes I'll say that, right? Like, I could tell you exactly what I'm looking for. I know specifically what I'm looking for. That's when you want to flip that around and say, that's fantastic. You know, that's great. But I'd like to have, you know, that same understanding of exactly what you're looking for. So that way, I want to have that same great understanding of exactly what you're looking for. So that way we're only sending you homes that are a perfect match, and we never miss out on the perfect one. It only takes about 15 minutes. Now, if I resist this, or I'm questioning you on, well, why would you need to meet with me? Because that's what they all say. Like, they're thinking that, and that's natural. I understand why the buyers would think, well, you know, hey, we're on the phone right now. In fact, you've already sent me some homes. That's why you're calling. You didn't need to meet with me in the first place to send me the properties. So why now? Why can't I just tell you over the phone what I'm looking for? So yeah, that's an objection, right? So you have to handle that objection with something that really, really makes sense. Okay, now you can shake their confidence by saying things like this. Well, for example, would you be interested in homes that have aluminum wiring, or formaldehyde insulation, or homes that have an oil tank in the backyard that's buried, or maybe a swimming pool that's filled in? Okay, so when you give these examples to the buyer, you know what the buyer's thinking? They're thinking, heck, you know what, I didn't even think about that, because I really don't want a house with aluminum wiring or some kind of weird insulation that makes people sick. I might not want a home that has a pool that's filled in or an oil tank in the backyard. I might not even want a home on a corner lot. I might not want, how about this? I might not want homes on busy streets. How about this? I don't want a home that's had a fire. By sitting down and talking to you for 15 minutes about what's really important to you, I have this checklist, and we could narrow this down so you're never getting information on homes that you would never consider. And this will save you time. Otherwise, you could be driving around, wasting your time, driving by properties that you would never consider buying. You see, now you've demonstrated to the buyer, hey, you know what, there really is, like, I believe the realtor now that there really is a tangible benefit to spending 15 minutes with this realtor, because what they're saying makes sense. And this is how we have to handle an objection. The words of our mouth have to make sense to the buyer. And when you explain it this way, the buyer's not thinking, well, you're just something that's in your interest. The buyer's thinking, well, this actually would be in my interest. This actually makes sense. You know, when I go to Realtor.com, Realtor.com doesn't ask me, oh, Craig, would you be interested in homes with aluminum wiring or formaldehyde insulation? No, I'm looking at all the properties. So we're going to narrow this down. In other words, what you're offering me is something that's way better than my current mode of gathering information. That is the opportunity that all of us have. If we can't do that, then we're just like everybody else. If we can't answer the question, hey, what's the difference between the other 8 ways I could be getting information or coming and meeting with you, if we can't answer that, guess what happens? What happens is what you just did. I beat you. I, the prospect, I won, because what you're going to agree to at the end of this conversation, what you're agreeing to is you're going to email me the information without the meeting. And we all know what happens there, right? Nothing good comes of that situation. Yes. So but you did pretty good, you know. You did pretty good until you got to the offer, and I was a bit tough on you, right? And I'm thinking this sometimes happens to you, doesn't it?
Yes, I've been working with Eric for like more than a month.
Right.
So I guess I got a lot to learn here.
No, I don't want to discourage you. I want you to make money. And if you're making phone calls and you're letting the buyer win, remember, you've got to be the professional. You're the pro. You're the expert with this script. If you're using this script over and over and over and over and over again, and you're calling a prospect that's never been exposed to this script, who should be better? Who should win this battle? You, the professional, the expert, or the amateur? You. This should be no contest. And that's exactly what's going to happen as you come onto these calls and you get better and better and better and better at this. It'll be easy. Getting your own way will be really, really easy. I hope that helps. Okay, thanks, man.
Thank you.
James McDonald, anything you want to add?
Let me unmute my mic here for a second. You know, what that all boiled down to, okay, that whole example, what it all boiled down to is this. You've got to be able to differentiate the difference between what the prospect is currently doing and what you're proposing. And remember this. I would have said, hey, Craig, I couldn't help but notice that you responded to my ad offering a free list of distressed sale and bank foreclosure properties. You know, just out of curiosity, you mentioned that all of the information that you need is all on Realtor.com. But yet I noticed that you were actually looking elsewhere and you were compelled by a list of better deals. Is it possible that maybe Realtor.com isn't finding all of the deals that you're looking for, and maybe there are other properties that you'd be interested in addition to those mainstream properties that you find on Realtor.com? Would that be likely? Perhaps not.
Hey, I've got another question here. This is from Dave.
Is my mic muted, Andrea, or?
I can hear you.
Oh, you can.
Yep.
Okay.
And I can hear you too. Can you hear me, James?
I can.
Okay. Next question is from Dave. Hi, Craig and James. Concerning the list of homes that we're offering on a daily basis, I feel like what I would be trying to convey, the list of homes I have that is proprietary information, is not true. And it's not, as it's public information. I do want to be honest and genuine and to transmit accurate information. How do we handle this honestly? So what Dave believes is if he says my buyers are going to get proprietary information, he believes that that's not true and that he would be lying to the buyers, and he wouldn't feel very good at that. So yes, I would agree with that. So let's not lie. Let's actually send the buyers proprietary information. So James, how could we do this?
So is it true that if another realtor in your office, for example, at the office meeting they said, hey, look, I've got a great property that's available, but my sellers don't want me to actually put it on MLS for another 2 weeks. And this is a 4-bedroom, beautiful property with a pool. It's really priced to sell. They're very, very motivated, but they want to do this in a hurry in a couple of weeks when it comes on the market. And you're like, wow, that's great, because I happen to know of a buyer that I'm working with that's looking for property exactly like that. Now, I want you to go on Realtor.com and I want you to find that property. As a matter of fact, I'd like you to go to any website and find that property. Let me save you some time. You won't. Want to know why? Because it's proprietary information that you have. That's an example of another realtor having a pocket listing that you happen to know about. So that's one example of proprietary information. I don't care who you are. You could be Sherlock Holmes. You are never going to find that property no matter how hard you look on Realtor.com or Trulia or Zillow or anywhere else. It's not available. Want to know why? Because it's proprietary. You have that information, and you.
Well, let's. Okay, Dave. By the way, Dave says thank you. Great point, James. But give us some other examples of. Well, let's all think out of the box here for a second. You're a real estate agent. Okay, you're in the business, nose to the grindstone every day. Dave's point is, well, as a realtor, like everything we have is just like public information. So if I'm, even suggesting to buyers that I might know of something that already isn't public information, then I would be lying. So James came up with one exception, and Dave says, okay, good point on that one. That happens all the time, right? You work in an office with realtors. I know at RE/MAX, I would come in maybe late at night. I come in at 9 o'clock after my appointments. I might drop my listings off, and I meet my buddy Joe, who works at RE/MAX. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Hey, pretty good. Hey, Craig, what did you list tonight? I listed these 2 properties. Joe, what did you list? He listed these 2. Now, Joe knows about my 2 new listings, and I know about Joe's. And I say, hey, Joe, you know that 4-bedroom home you just listed on London Road? Look, you know how we'd have 48 hours to broker load that? Could you just delay that for a day? Because I have a buyer for that property. They're looking for something on London Road, 4-bedroom with a pool and a double-car garage and a finished basement. I have a buyer for that. And Joe says to me, and Craig, you know that house over in Glenway Estates you listed tonight? The 3,000 square foot home backing on the golf course? I have a buyer for that one. Could you hold off broker loading that for 24 hours until I get my buyer? Yes, I could do that. So both of us exchanged information that's not public. Now, how about this? How about homes that other prospects that you know of? Okay, so Dave, I assume using this program you meet with a lot of buyer prospects and a lot of seller prospects. So could it be if James McDonald was a buyer lead that you generated and I was a seller lead, I'm not listed with you or anybody else, but I've told you that sometime in the next couple months I absolutely 100% have to sell my home because I bought new construction. I wasn't ready to list my home a month ago, but you would know, you have insider information about sellers in your database that have not listed their home with anybody. Is that public information? No. How about all the homes that have expired in your marketplace in the last 6 months? Is that public? Is that on any website? Nope. What about for sale by owners? Anyway, you get the point, Dave. It's really, really easy for all of us to feel good about this. I get you don't want to lie. I understand you want to feel good about this.
Can I just jump in for a second? I think the misconception is this. We're not saying, hey, Craig, would you like me to only send you hard-to-find deals that you won't find elsewhere? I will not send you anything but the hard-to-find properties that are otherwise available to everybody. No one's saying that. That's not the offer. The offer is this. Craig, in addition to the properties that you might be finding, there are other great deals that might represent exactly what you and your family are looking for that you're missing out on. Bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distress sales, private listings, pocket listings. There are all kinds of great deals that you are missing out on, and I have that information that I can email to you as soon as those properties come available, as well as other properties in the marketplace to make it easier for you to find the home that you're looking for. It's absolutely free. There's no obligation. Would that be helpful to you? Now, this is why this is important. When you send them properties that are on Realtor.com, for example, you're not doing anything wrong. You didn't say, I'm never going to send you a property that you will be able to find elsewhere. You're saying, in addition to the properties that you're finding, would you also like to receive the harder to find deals? So
you know what this comes down to is real estate agents have it beaten into their heads that they're commodities.
Yes.
Like we're trying to convince you folks that you actually could use words that come out of your mouth so you don't sound exactly the same as every other agent. Because you want to know what every other agent in your marketplace is saying? Here's what they're saying, James. You and I are going to do a role play. Hey, James, would you like me to email you like the same listings that everyone else can send you?
No, I'm already getting those.
Oh, I guess you got me, man.
Oh, too bad.
Because I could send you the same stuff that's on Realtor.com or the other agents, but you got me. So you're already getting it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then you,
yes,
because I'm just the same. Yeah, I'm the same as all the other guys. So we all have. I got to be honest with you, James. All the real estate agents are exactly the same. They have access to the same information. All of us. There's no advantage one over the other. So if you've already got an agent sending you that stuff, then I guess I'm done. Because there's nothing I could offer you. So have a nice day.
Yes, that would be sad.
Okay, Adele is asking, I'm still having problems with bold leads, just curious leads. Could you remind me how to handle these types of leads? Shall I alter the CP script? Oh, you know what? We don't want you to alter the script. James, maybe you can talk a little bit about what you would say to a bold lead.
Why does it matter if it's bold leads? I don't understand. They're asking for an online home evaluation. So why, if you want an online home evaluation, or where and how you responded to asking for the value of your home is irrelevant. In other words, if I said to the prospect, hey, you're a bold leads, do you know what they'd say? What the hell's bold leads?
Right. Only we know it's bold leads. I know.
Well, you hired bold leads to run the ad for you. Why don't you just pretend that you ran the ad?
Okay, so Adele says, but Adele says, oh no, we're not moving. But Adele, leads that aren't sourced from bold leads also say to you, no, I'm not moving. Right? Some of them are going to say they are moving, and some of them aren't. Now, it's a different story, Adele. If you're saying, well, look at 100% of the bold leads that I call say they're not motivated, then either we've got to look at what you're saying, or I probably wouldn't be spending money on bold leads if you can't convert any of them. Here's what I would do. If I was generating leads with bold leads or any other source, this is very easy for all of you to do with seller leads. So Adele, I don't know how long you've been using bold leads, but it sounds like they're saying, oh, no, I'm not moving. So what we want to establish now is it you or is it them? So you have their addresses. All you need to do is go to MLS, plug in the bold leads seller's address into MLS, and if you find out that these sellers are listing within a couple weeks of them saying, no, don't waste time with me, Adele, I'm not a good lead, then we can't say the lead's no good because they listed their home with someone, and they listed it within a couple weeks. If you find the opposite, that you generated 50 of these bold lead seller leads, and within 2 months, not one of them have listed their home, then that would tell me, well, why am I wasting money on bold leads? Because none of these sellers are listing with me or any other realtor. So that's how we would make that decision. Is it them or is it us? Okay, Adele says good point. All right, so we can do another role play here with you guys, or we could take some more questions. If you have objections, something that's stumping you, we can help you with that. So I haven't gotten to all the questions. Some of them are sort of duplicates here. I'm trying to cover as much ground as I can. Do we have another role play volunteer, Andrea?
We do. We have lots of hands raised from our members. We can go to Bill Watson. Okay. Bill, you're muted. In Denver. You're muted on your end. Just hit the red mic button, and that'll unmute your line. Go ahead, Bill.
Hello.
Okay, first of all, congratulations on your Super Bowl victory.
Yeah, it's pretty good, wasn't it?
That was pretty good. Now, is he going to retire? Is he going to retire, or is he going to play another season?
Well, if he plays another season, it won't be in Denver.
Right.
Interesting.
So we'll
forced retirement.
Well, why? Look, his contract with Denver was $96 million. He's won his second Super Bowl. He's going to be 40 years old. He can do what Elway did and just go out way on top and then start the second phase of his career.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Okay, so what's on your mind this morning, Bill?
We've seen you throw football,
Yeah.
Craig, so maybe.
You know what I wanted to do just real quickly, because I was listening in and the bold leads and the other calls, and I can't stress enough. What's happening is everybody's overthinking where the lead source. So they're overthinking where this lead is being generated from, and so they think automatically that the universal callback script has to change.
Hey, can I say that's a very good point. And Bill, earlier in my career, do you want to know why I thought that way? Because what I was taught when I started real estate is that you need to memorize 300 different scripts. Right? That's what I was taught. And many of us were taught that. We're brainwashed to think, well, there couldn't possibly be one script that would actually work in all situations. We must have 300 scripts. And most of you have heard me say this. Look, I know that that's what trainers sell you. And here's why they sell you 300 different scripts. Because it's really difficult to sell one script to you on a tape, on a CD, for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It's very difficult to sell you one script in their product basket for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So they have 300 different scripts. So they teach you, here's your FSBO script, and here's your expired script, and here's this script and that script. And I figure it this way. If you have a script that actually works, if you had one script that really works, it seems the other 299 would sort of be unnecessary. So I'm with you on that. We're brought up in this industry to believe, well, for every situation and source, there's got to be a different script. So Bill, I'm sure that on Tuesdays, you've got your Tuesdays bold lead script. And then on Wednesday, you've got a different script for bold leads. And then Commissions Inc., well, those are going to need another script. And if it comes from the newspaper, that's a different. The point you're making is, why do we overanalyze this? Does it really matter where the lead was sourced?
It doesn't.
I don't think it really matters.
Well, it's just like before the infusion of internet lead generation, we either had leads coming from a classified ad, an editorial ad, or for back in the early days with Craigslist or Homes and Land ad, or they still came from other sources. And the fact, and you made a great point, Craig. The fact of the matter is the universal callback script immediately determines time and motivation, and it lets us know very quickly on the phone whether we have a qualified prospect or someone who is not. And if they're not, so with bold leads, you're going to get people that are just curious about the price of their home. But you know what? When I run editorial ads, I get people that are curious about the price of their home.
Correct.
And one of the
correct. It's not a bold leads phenomenon. It's not a problem with bold leads or any other source. What Bill's saying is the truth is, no matter where you run the ad, no matter what the source is, some of the sellers are not going to be motivated to sell.
Or the one thing that you taught me very early on is that because of our exceptional marketing through the Quantum Leap system, we are getting people to wave their hand in the marketplace very early on in the process, which means we're getting to them first, which means effective follow-up is going to be key, and we're going to get them when they're ready to go. So when these leads are being generated and we're using the universal callback script to follow up, we're finding out that time and motivation, which is very, very critical, and we're also getting people early on so that if we're following up correctly, we've got a boatload of future business as we start to move through our business cycles. So the only thing I do with a bold lead or a Zillow lead, if in fact, because they go on and they get these estimates and stuff like that, is instead of asking if they want a free market evaluation, I ask them if they want a more accurate evaluations. That's all I do. I change one word, and that's it. But the universal callback script, and if you think about it, okay, we've got 4 offers in that universal callback script that allows us to work with this person in many different ways, whether it's now or in the future. But the second thing is, these are the most logical questions that you'll ever want to ask anybody if they're thinking about buying or selling a home, to determine what their time and motivation is. And so, my only suggestion to everybody on this call is learn the script, stick to the script, use the script, and simply watch it work.
And that's good advice. Tell us what's going on with your business here in the first couple months of 2016.
We're having a tremendous quarter. Our Denver marketplace right now only has 28 days of inventory. So we've got about 5,300 homes on the market, and this market's absorbing about 5,600 homes a month. If you can believe it.
Talk to us about your two sons that have joined your team, and how you feel about that, and how proud you are of them.
Oh, well, geez, I get to brag a little bit. This is awesome. Evan joined, and it's always great when you can brag about your kids, right? So, Evan is my youngest. He's 23 now. He joined us when he was 18 and a half. And now he's working right now, Craig, with $1 million buyer, $1.5 million buyer, and about a $500,000 buyer. And what's amazing about this is that these buyers are in their 50s and 60s, and he's 23. Because of what he's learned in this system, his commissions last year were $104,000 at 22.
That's awesome.
So that's not bad.
Now, how many realtors in Denver have been at this for years and years and years, and they're a lot older than 23? They've been in the real estate industry for 10 years or longer, and they're not making the kind of money that your son is making.
Now, his production puts him in about the top 5%. And then my oldest son, Lance, joined us 2.5 years ago. He's 31. His first year in the business was $96,000. Last year it was $158,000. His wife just passed both of her tests for the real estate license, so they're going to join the team. And they're heading out next month for London and Scotland for 2 weeks.
Yep, more money, more time, and more freedom in their life. That's what the program's all about.
Yeah, and I'm not. I mean, I'll tell you right now that these guys they just plugged into the system, and they worked the system. And when I started real estate in '84, they gave me a Kohl's directory and a phone and sat me on a desk. And I got
Bill, I don't know how long you've been on the webinar here today, but did you hear me role-playing with somebody's virtual assistant a few minutes ago?
I did.
Okay. So here's a virtual assistant that's picking up the universal callback script and doing a very good job, often better than some of our members, because they actually just follow the system. Now, you were in real estate a long, long time before you got involved with the program. You've mentioned to me some of the hardest things for you, being a veteran in real estate, was to sort of block out all the things that you were taught, all the paradigms you had about what was possible and what was impossible. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the importance of that and how you had to overcome all this old school stuff that they had taught you for, I don't know, how long were you a realtor before you met me?
I met you through the fax machines back in '98 when I think I got your list. Remember the listing or the marketing in a box, or the program that you had that we were able to buy?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. So I got that, but then I came to my first. I'll never forget. I had a stint where I was the VP of Sales and Marketing for a couple large builders here in Colorado, and in January of 2004. In 2005, I went back to RE/MAX, and I called your office, and I said, I want to get coached. And I think it was Tammy or somebody said, well, you can, but you got to come to the conference. I said, no, you don't understand. I'll come to the conference, but I need a coach now. And I remember Ann telling me, my wife, who now is, she's been my business partner all of our years of being married, and she attends every conference with me and just soaks it up. And she said to me, she said, why do you think you need a coach? You've done this for a long time. You've got all these accolades. You've done all of these things. And I said, because I don't know how to do it this way. In other words, I don't know how to do it the right way. And I've got to get I've got to get with Craig, and I've got to get with Craig as fast as I can. So I hurried up, and I came to the first conference I could get to. And I was looking for a forum to join coaching before the conference even started. And so what I did was I just said, okay, everything that I ever knew, I just came in and said, I pretended like I was brand new to the real estate business. And when I came back,
and that's hard to do when you're not.
It's very hard to do because you've got some. I think even to today, like I still show up in a shirt and tie every single day. I mean, I'm still kind of old school, but there's some of those things. I'm always dressed and ready to hit the ground running. But I had to change the way I approached the business because Craig, I'm going to tell you something. By the way, congratulations on the Inman and top 25 real estate coaches. But I'm going to tell you something. When I joined you in 2005, everybody called me a proctorite. They thought what I was doing was radical. Imagine reverse prospecting, generating leads, building your business, inside sales associates, outside sales associates, team structures, things that really made business sense. And all of a sudden, I'm taking what they perceive to be this radical approach. So we fast forward 11 years later, and now it's the mantra. You've got to have an inside sales associate. You got to have an outside sales associate. Lead generation is the way that you build your business. And these are all the things that you were teaching us before it was even in vogue. I mean, I am listening to guys in my market using unique selling propositions that I know they came through our program at one time or another. And so you'll get a kick out of what I'm getting ready to say, but in the same way that you can track all of mankind back to Adam and Eve, you can track all of the innovative real estate systems that are being used today in relationship to team building and lead generation, lead follow-up, and lead conversion, right back to you. And you transformed our complete business life when we got involved. And I just had to get rid of everything. I just got rid of everything, and when I got rid of everything and just plugged myself into the Quantum Leap system, it all changed. It all changed, and like we've never looked back.
Well, that's quite a testimonial.
Well, it's true. I mean,
now some of you have been typing in while Bill's been talking. Who is this guy? This is Bill Watson, as you can see on the screen here. He's now a coach with us. Some of you you're lucky you've got Bill as your coach. But Bill, I want to thank you for participating here today. I know you've helped so many people in our program that you've been coaching and working with. And if you haven't had a chance to meet Bill, you should do that. At the next conference you show up, he's at all of them. You should go up and you should talk to Bill and meet his sons. But look at the contrast there. Bill was a realtor for a long, long time before he met me. Had to forget everything he learned and do it a different way. But his sons were brand new into real estate. So it doesn't really matter whether you've been doing this for 20 years and you got to retool the factory, or you're brand new like Bill's sons. You can see very quick results if you just follow the program. Let's bring James McDonald back in here. Okay, Michael Ray says, Bill's my coach. All right, Big Bill. There's a few of our members that are saying hi. James McDonald, we've got a few minutes before we wrap this up. Final thoughts.
We started off, one of the suggestions I made, and I wouldn't mind hearing Bill's take on this to see if it's something he's done. But one of the things we talked about when we started this morning was how instructional it is to record your calls. First and foremost, for you yourself to listen to what you're saying. And, from a third-party perspective, you'll really be able to pinpoint where you're doing a good job and where you might be falling down a little bit. And then secondarily, you can also take that call, send it to your coach, send it in to us, and then have us listen as well. And, of course, that is really helpful also. But I know that there are a lot of you that haven't done that, and I just can't recommend it enough. So I don't know if that's something, Bill, that you've done before or that you recommend. And if so, I'm certain that you'd support that suggestion.
I would, James, because there's a lot of things that you pick up on. One of the things that I've learned from you, and I don't get on this call enough, and I've decided to put this role play call in as a mandatory every Thursday because I always come back with the nuances. Like after we made the introduction, you taught me, oh, listen, by the way, since I have you on the phone, are you planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months? I mean, what you've taught me through the universal callback script is how to make it conversational. And when you record yourself, what you're able to pick up on is tonality. How do you sound on the phone? Are you sounding overly scripted, or have you really mastered this and learned it to where you are literally having a conversation utilizing the universal callback script? The one caution I want to make to everyone, James, and James, you taught me this, is in the very beginning, better to read it and do it than to just try to wing it. Winging it never works, and it's the offer. It's the offer that we make that sets us apart to set the appointment. So recording is really important.
Yeah, it really, really is. And I appreciate you saying that. And I know that we've got some participants on the webinar here today that have been coming on for years and years and years, and maybe not every single Thursday, but certainly most. And that speaks volumes to how helpful it is to constantly practicing and getting better and better and better at what you do every day. Oh, by the way, Craig, tomorrow's our ad clinic, so let's make sure we get lots of ads sent in to look at for tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, so I had a webinar yesterday, Todd and I did, with the coaches, and what I said to the coaches, I said, look, if the coaches could have their members that have successful ads send those in as well. You isolated this problem several months ago, James. You said the problem with the ad clinic is mostly we have members who are sending in ads that are not working very well. And the people that are getting really good results, they figure, well, I don't need to come on the ad clinic because I've got a bunch of ads that are working really, really well. So Bill and coaches, we want to encourage the coaches to send in their really super successful ads along with our members. So here's the crazy thing about it. Don't think because you've got an ad that works really well that you shouldn't send it in. We want to look at both. We want to look at ads that, yeah, need some improvement. They need to be tweaked. But we also want to look at ads that are, seriously kicking butt and taking no prisoners. We want to show our members, give them the encouragement and give them social proof. Lots of examples of, here is the ad that our member ran. It only cost this much. They generated this many leads. They listed 5 homes, and they've already made, $25,000 on their $50 investment. So I'd like to show more of what's working on the ad clinics instead of focusing just on, ads that aren't working. If that makes sense to everybody. So yes, don't be afraid to send your successful ads in. The ad clinic is for both. It's for those of you that are struggling. And it's also for those of you that have a really successful ad. And you might be thinking, well, Craig, if my ad's already working really well, what's the benefit to me to send the ad in? Well, maybe James and I can help you make it even work better. Right? That's a crazy idea, but if you've got an ad that's already working well, maybe we can tweak the thing so it even works better. So who should submit their ads? Everybody. Everybody. That's how we're all going to get better. So we're going to wrap it up now. I want to thank James and Andrea and Bill Watson and everyone else who contributed today. But we're out of time. Take care, and we'll see everyone tomorrow morning for our Ad Clinic webinar.